Welcome back to Learning with Merit. Today we're going to talk about YouTube and how to learn with YouTube and all the different features that you may find that can be very useful to someone who is trying to learn new things through videos. So let's take a look at what we're going to cover today. We are going to cover how to resize the window, all of the different options for that, all of the settings you can find, all of the things you can do with video transcripts, and even some keyboard shortcuts that will be very useful for you whenever you're using YouTube videos. So we open up a Chrome here and we'll find I have already located us on the Learning with Merit YouTube channel. You'll notice there are a lot of different videos here outside of even what I do. A lot of very useful channels that will teach you about different topics, and we might want to use these channels to learn about something new. So let's use an example of one of my videos and go through all of the different things that we can do. So whenever we load this up, you will get a default view that looks something like this, right? And you may notice a couple things. One, it may not necessarily be big enough for you, and you may want to increase the size of this window. You may notice that it's a little blurry. It's not always easy to see, and there just may be a few things that you want to change. So let's start with resizing the window. So there are three little options down here. One is full screen. We all probably know about full screen. You can click on that to toggle it, and that will toggle the full screen mode. There's also theater mode, which is the one that I recommend because it makes the screen bigger without causing it to take up all of the available space. So you can switch between your tabs and go back, but you still have a bigger video area to work with. You of course can toggle it with this little icon right here. There's also mini player mode, which we can toggle, which makes it in mini players so you can search through other videos. I don't recommend that you ever use that one while you're trying to learn stuff unless you're just listening to it. That's a good way to use mini player if you're just listening to something and you're wanting to look for something else. So those are our three different ways to do that. Now, we can use keyboard shortcuts to do those. F is for full screen, so you can hit F twice and that will toggle full screen mode either to full screen or out of full screen. If you hit T, that will toggle theater mode. If you hit I, that will toggle the mini player mode. So pretty simple there. Now, the next thing we're going to look at is settings. So if we look at settings here, we click on this button, we have four different things to work with. Ambient mode is going to be just a little bit of a lighting trick that they use to help make it more immersive whenever you're in dark modes and things like that. So you don't really have to mess with ambient mode. We have playback speed here, which we can click on. This will change the speed at which the video is playing and including the audio. So for example, if I'm going too slow for you, you can up me to 1.5 or 2 times speed, and then you don't have to wait for as long because I will literally talk faster because the video is running faster. If I'm talking a little too fast, you can slow me down. I would not suggest slowing anyone down to 0.25 or 1/4 time, just because there is no data for that. And so it becomes very robotic sounding and maybe even difficult to understand. But 0.75 is not too bad, and 0.5 isn't horrible, but it's still very robotic. But it helps slow everything down if you're trying to catch something that maybe I'm talking too fast about or somebody else is talking too fast about. Of course, you can hit custom here, and there's like a little slider, so you can change it into increments of 0.05. And so that's a little easier. But mostly I find that really all you need is one of these. Now with playback speed, you can actually adjust that with a keyboard shortcut as well. So if we played this video and we wanted to increase the speed without having to go in the menu, we could hit the shift button and period. And that is increasing my speed. You'll see that it's knocking the speed up. If I need to slow it down, I can hit shift and comma and it will slow it down as far as I need it to go. All right, so let's reset it back to 1 times and pause the video. The next thing we can look at under settings is subtitles. Now the subtitles are currently off for me. But we can click on this and we can turn them on. Now English will be auto-generated, which means what it's doing is it's reading the audio and creating the words from what I'm saying. So I'm not writing the subtitles or anything like that. So this means that occasionally the subtitles will be wrong. They will say, sort of have words that don't make any sense or sound a little different because it's not a perfect system. But you can click on English auto-generated, and as the video plays here, you will see some text down here start to appear. Now I have some settings on here already, but I can show you what the default will look like. So I go to subtitles, and in the options here, I can click on reset. Now this is sort of what it looks like normally, what you'll see. But I suggest you change it to something that's maybe a little more comfortable for you. So font family, this is the way the text, the characters on the screen are going to look. I like monospaced serif, and it's because it looks more like computer font to me. It just looks more computery. I'm not really sure why it looks more computery, but it looks more computery. So I usually click on that. Font color is going to be what color the text appears to be. So maybe I want it to be yellow or green or cyan or blue, right? So really just whatever color you like the best. I'm going to keep it on white. Font size is how big it is. So if it's too small for you, you can change it all the way up to 400% if you need to. Or if it's too big, you can change it all the way down to 50% if you need to. I usually just leave it on 100, or maybe sometimes I'll turn it up to 150%. Then we have background color. Background color can be whatever color you like. Really, it's just the thing that is highlighting the actual text. So you might want to change the highlight to yellow, green, whatever you like there. Opacity has to deal with how see-through something is. So if the background opacity is 0, that means we can completely see through it. If it is 100%, it means that we cannot see through it at all. So it's completely opaque. Anyway, the point is here, if you like the background or need the background, you turn it up closer to 100%. If you don't feel like you need the background or don't like it, you can turn it all the way down to 100%. And if there's something in between you like. Then we have window color. Mostly in this case it doesn't change that much, but it may change the color of your window if you need it to. Same thing with window opacity. You can change how see-through it is. If I turn it up to 100% here, you see how it turned the opacity of the window all the way to dark. Now I can change the window color to like black, for example. So it just leaves a little window for where your words are coming up. I'm going to leave it on black, and I'm going to turn its opacity back to 0 because I don't really need it there. Character edge style. This sort of changes what it looks like on the edge of the characters. You may not be able to tell that much of a difference. But maybe like there's depressed, there's outline. You can sort of see that it's changing. I can't tell that much of a difference on most of them, so I really just leave it on none. But you may see a difference on yours, and you can change it how you want. Then there's the font opacity. This is how see-through the font is, the actual characters. If you turn it down to 25%, you'll just barely be able to see them, so I usually leave it at 100%. And then, of course, if you want to, you can reset everything back to its defaults and then go and change them how you want them. Now, with subtitles, the quick key for this is the C button. So if you want to toggle it on and off, so here I am playing the video. I want to toggle them off. They're off now. That is with the C button. Toggle them back on, also with the C button. The last thing we have is quality, and this is one of the first things you're going to want to change. You may have noticed that this video that we're looking at right now is a little blurry. And that is because the quality of the video is set low because YouTube wants to stream videos at the lowest possible quality because it allows them to send less data and it makes it faster. So if we need to, and most of the time we will because we want very clear videos, we need to turn that up. So you'll see 144p, 360p, 720p, and 1080p. 1080p is your best quality. P stands for pixels in this case, and it has to do with the resolution or how clear the image is when you look at it. You're going to want to turn most of my videos up to 1080p, and the reason is I record them at that quality, and so it's really easy for you to see. right? But you could, of course, I wouldn't go any further down than 720, right? 720 is pretty decent, but it's still not the clearest image. If you're having some internet issues, I'd turn it down to 720. But most of the time, I turn it all the way up to 1080, get all of the clarity that I can so I can really see what I'm doing, right? And what I need to be able to recreate. So now that we've got all of those settings out of the way, we know how to use the closed captionings, and we have a few little different things we can do. We also have the go back 10 seconds button. We have the go forward 10 seconds button. We have the mute button here. Of course, we have some keyboard shortcuts for those as well. So if I want to play or pause the video, I have two shortcuts for that. I can either hit the spacebar, and that'll toggle it, or I can hit K, and that will toggle it. If I want to go forward 10 seconds, then what I need to do is I'm looking for I'm looking for L. L is forward, J is back. So if I want to go forward 10 seconds, I hit L. And if I want to go back 10 seconds, I hit J. All right, I'm doing that without actually clicking on anything. Now, if I'm paused and I just need to change it just a little bit, I don't want to go very far. I can actually go frame by frame if I want to. If I want to go forward frames, so frames, if you don't know, basically what they are is a video is basically just a bunch of pictures right back to back, being shown on the screen. And so each frame is its own picture, basically. So I can go frame by frame, and here I am pressing the period button, and you'll see that stuff starts to slowly appear. So if I just need to creep forward just a little bit, I can keep pressing that button, or I can hold it, and you'll see that we'll start to go frame by frame a little faster. And sometimes that'll cause it to load a little funny. If you need to go backwards frames, you can hit the comma button by itself. Of course, right now it's wanting to load, but you'll see it just barely went back. Just barely went back. Now, some other things that we might want to do, if we want to jump forward a chapter, so each of these, what we call like timestamps, you'll see I have different timestamps in the video. If we want to jump forward through those, we have a shortcut for that. We can hit the Control button and the forward arrow, or the right arrow, the right arrow, and that'll jump me forward through the timestamps. If I hit Control and the back arrow, that will take me backward through the timestamps. If I want to go all the way to the beginning, I can hit the Home button. If I want to go all the way to the end, I can hit the End button. Go back to Home. If I want to go to the beginning, I can also hit 0. If I want to jump forward by increments, I can use the numbered buttons. So if I hit 1, I went forward about 1/10. Then 2, that's about 2/10. 3, about 3/10. 4, about 4/10. 5 is about halfway, so 5/10. And hopefully you get the idea from there on out. So I'm going to pause the video again. Now let's talk about the transcripts. So if we come down here, we've talked about all the little settings we have here. If we scroll down just a little bit, we have 3 little dots here. And they hide the transcripts for whatever reason, but they're extremely useful. So if you click on Show Transcript, 3 little dots, and Show Transcript, if you're in the regular view, you will see where you are in the video, and it will show you the words associated with this time in the video. So the great thing about the transcript is it will follow along as the video is playing. So here I am. I'm going to increase the speed of the video so you can see, maybe a little easier, right? You'll see that it's tracking over here. As it goes through the video, you'll see that it's tracking what's being said, and you can follow along and even click on different parts. If, oh, I didn't really catch what he said right there, I can click right there. It takes you right back to it. The most useful thing about transcripts is if we combine it with the Ctrl F feature of most browser, in fact, most apps have the Ctrl F on there somewhere. Ctrl F is for find. We can find a particular word. So this video is about functions. So I'm going to use the word function, right? And this will show all of the times in which I say the word function, right? And there are quite a few times. If I hit enter, it will basically take me through or cycle through all of the different places where I say the word function. So let's say this is something you may or may not know about, but let's use the word parameter. This is something that has to do with functions. Maybe I need to know specifically about parameters. When does Mr. Merritt say parameter? So I can hit through that, and I'll see everywhere in the video with timestamps where I can find the word parameter. And now what I'm able to do is go, okay, well, here's where he says something about positional arguments here. That's kind of what I'm looking for. I click on that. It takes me right to where I'm talking about it. And that is the most useful thing, in my opinion, about transcripts. So remember, you can use that Ctrl F feature, and that will allow you to find in the transcript, once you got it up here, where I've said something specific. If you got it in theater mode, what you'll notice is the transcript's hidden down here. Okay? So, you know, just be aware of that. So I'm going to toggle that off now. I've got a couple of other quick little tips for you. First of all, if you look in the description, you will also find all of the timestamps and their names. They are called chapters in YouTube, so you can click through the chapters down here if you wanted to. That's just another way to do it. You can look at anything else that's placed in the description. For example, in the description of this video, I will provide all of the YouTube keyboard shortcuts that I discussed so you can actually see them in case you missed what I said. So that's one thing that you may find down there in addition to the chapters. Now the last thing I want to show you is just a few little extra shortcuts that may be useful to you. First of all, if you are playing the video here and you want to increase the sound, you can hit the up arrow key. If you want to decrease it, you can hit the down arrow key. If you are looking to go forward or backward, you can also do it in 5-second increments. You can use the arrow keys for that. So there's 5 seconds forward, there's 5 seconds back, right and left arrow keys respectively for that. Then we also have the Shift plus N. So if I click here and make sure I hit Shift and N, that will take me to whatever the next video is. If I hit Shift and P, it should take me back. Now, if there isn't a video to take me back to, if there isn't a video to take me back to, it will just sort of act like it takes me to the beginning of the video. So if you're in a playlist, this is extremely useful. So if let me see if I can find a playlist real quick and I'll show you. So here's like a playlist on Linux, an operating system that you may find. So let's hit Shift and N. Whoops, sorry. Yeah, Shift and N, that took me forward 1. Now Shift and P, okay, it took me back 1. So this is most useful for when you're in a playlist like this. And then the last thing, I believe, is escape and /. So escape will pretty much take you out of anything if you're in the full screen mode, and got a little pop up there for my ad block. If you're in full screen mode, you can hit escape. Right, and that'll take you out of it. It'll take you out of a couple other things too. If you want to go directly to the search box without having to click on it, you can hit / just like that, and it will take you to the search box. So that pretty much covers everything that I wanted to get done in this video. I hope that it was interesting and you learned something about using YouTube videos that will make your life a little easier whenever you're learning with them. I know that they certainly have made my life a lot easier. I appreciate your attention, and thanks for watching Learning with Merritt.